Lisa McAllister, BBC Newsline, Belfast.
Easier said than done. Now sport, and the opening ceremony for the Olympic Games in Rio is just a day away. Stephen Watson is, of course, in Rio for BBC Newsline.
Well, the first Northern Ireland athlete in action at these games is archer Patrick Huston. He will compete in the individual competition for Team GB. And Huston from Belfast is featured in our final profile of our 28 Olympians competing here at Rio, as Nigel Ringland reports.
Even before the opening ceremony gets underway at the Maracana Stadium on Friday night, another famous Rio venue will host the ranking round for the archery, which means Patrick Huston will be the first of the 366-strong Great Britain squad in action at these Olympics.
The Sambodrome, which is where we're shooting, it's the venue for the Rio Carnival. Where we're shooting our qualification is where all the teams or groups of people sort of congregate, and then they march up this really long concrete avenue with massive stands either side. It'll be absolutely amazing. I'm sure they've dressed it up wonderfully. I was there for the test event. It looked good, but for the games they put a little bit more polish on. But to be the first Team GB member out there representing the country, I hadn't actually thought of that, but that'd be pretty cool, won't it?
The archers will be ranked 1 to 64 based on their qualification scores. The higher the better, when the competition gets underway in earnest on Monday.
There are quite a few people, about 10 or so, who get to the Olympics from or get to the archery part of the games for sort of tripartite places, so being particularly small represented countries or winning them at slightly less difficult continental championships in the Europeans. So there are a few people down at the bottom that if you get seeded to hit them, you get your first match being a little bit easier. So ranking in the top few, particularly if you can rank in that top 8, that means you get to avoid the Koreans, who are kind of the powerhouse in archery, until you get to the last 8. And then when you get to the last 8, they're feeling just as much pressure as you, and I'll beat them then.
So there's no lack of confidence, but what can he realistically achieve?
Well, the realistic ambition for me is a medal. Of course, I want to be Olympic champion, so does everybody, but I've won a host of tournaments in my career up to now, and I plan on winning a host on. But as much as I want to win it, the fact of getting to an Olympic Games, there are so many people in Britain do archery, so many trying to get to an Olympic Games, to be able to be that person selected to represent GB at the Olympic Games is just a surreal and incredible experience.
And one he intends making the most of. Nigel Ringland, BBC Newsline.
And he starts tomorrow morning, even before the official spectacular opening ceremony gets underway tomorrow night. I'll have lots more from Rio on tomorrow's BBC Newsline.
Like a coiled spring.